So with our lovely Miss Jojo, hi, ready, cuteness? So I wanted to warm up a little bit with a pattern game. Oh, that's a very nice check-in, ma'am. So with the pattern games, I know we've been diving into a few of them today for all the gorgeous guys and gals at times. So the Super Bowls game, these ones, for example, are flat targets. You could use flat targets, bowls, whatever works well for you guys. She got a cute little flat face, so I find the flat targets work well for a lot of dogs, but especially the brachycephalic friends. So what that is going to entail for the Super Bowls game is that in the beginning, we're going to go ahead and feed nearby. So eventually I'm going to add movement where I'm walking, and every time the dog reorients from the environment or walking and looks to me, I'm going to feed one of the Super Bowl, again, sections. So right here, she's watching me. So I'm going to go, yes, I'm going to feed right on the bowl. So again, the moment she looks up at me, yes, and feet on the floor. So the benefit to this game, and she's like, hold up, she got an itch. She's allowed to itch. So let's say our gorgeous gal tends to get easily distracted, or a little bit overwhelmed at times. Right there, yes. So when she orients back to me without me cueing her or asking for this focus, yes. So she gave me some eyes. The benefit of having this be moving around the environment. So again, you can then, yes, start to have your puppy hone in on you from many different venues, like in the sense of moving further from something else or coming back from a distraction. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for her to eyes, on me, and I would go ahead and feed the ground. So this is similar to most of these pattern games where you're feeding the ground and you're kind of waiting for your babe to hone back in on you. Yes. And when they do so, you can then plop a food item on one of the targets. While they're busy eating one of the snacks, and she's picking up some crumbs that Mr. E did not want to have earlier, which is fine right there, yes, is you're going to go ahead and move when your puppy is busy finding the food and eating it. Yes. And again, I'm just doing teeny little crumbs on these little targets. So as you're meandering, anytime your gorgeous gal looks up and gives you eyes, yes, you can put a little snack on one of the targets. I like to move around as they get more comfortable. Yes. And then plop it down and wiggle a little bit and wait for those eyes to hit me again. So I like to, keep my eyes locked on the dog because I want to make sure that I don't miss out on one of these moments where she checks in with me. Oh, we got an itch. That's allowed. Scratchy time. I know she'd rather be a nudist. Yes. So very nice. So again, the benefit of some of these pattern games is you could bring this out, yes, to different environments as she's becoming more resilient. So in the beginning, like we've been kind of harping on, is all of these babes, yes, need to work on their basics or the skills or foundation behaviors they're trying to master in a calm, yes, or comfortable environment without the triggers, distractions, or things that get them flustered or distracted around. Yes. So you're building up that these foundation skills are fun things to do when there is nothing off in the distance overwhelming them or getting too excited. So that way later, this is so well rehearsed, no matter what's going on, they're able to bounce back from the environment, through the trigger, through the distraction, and come on back to you. So right here, I'm just going to feed her for just coming into my space. So not part of the pattern game, just want to capture all these great moments. Yes. Where my gorgeous gal hones in on me versus the rest of the world. Yes. So you'll see that there's a lot of nice big chunks of change being deposited into these accounts. Yes. So we're creating a lot of great value in doing these weird things with us. Yes. Because remember, no pup walks up to another pup and says, would you like to do some focus work? How about we check in and we do some eye contact? All of these weird skills are beneficial for us in our weird human world with dogs. Yes. So we want to go ahead and start building up value, and that these things can then be attainable for when we need it. Yes, in a real world setting. Because most of these babes would much rather just go do sniffy walks or do whatever behavior is working for them. Yes, even if it's not a behavior we love. Because remember, dogs just perceive the environment. Yes. And I'm just going to feed her for that little sit. But dogs will, again, do whatever makes them feel safe. So, or gives them an out, so a way to release some pent-up frustration or anxiety or excitement. So if you're finding that your babe is getting into a lot of trouble with things you don't love, gauge, what could I have my dog do instead? I know it's hard. We'll do a little find it, get her up and wiggling. So you may have moments where you have to pick and choose and make sure that the environment in which you're practicing in are successful for your babe in whatever comfort range they might be in. So we're going to just take a little break from the pattern game. I'm just going to do a couple little find its just for fun, get her up and wiggling, give a little recess to the pattern, and then see if we can go back into working it again. So to start it again, I like to feed the floor on one of the mats or the target, whatever you have as a bowl. Yes. The moment she locks eyes on you again, feed for that lovely focus on you, meander through the environment and see if she finds your face again. Yes. And this is a great game also for puppies. Yes. So remember, you can do a lot of these pattern games are for any beautiful boy or girl. So don't feel it has to be, yes, a dog that is struggling or is overly exuberant or having some trouble with things. Oh my goodness, so itchy. She's really doing a very nice job. So right here, yes, lovely eyes on me, and we'll continue again. I know Mr. A says, I'd like to come back out and do some more WrestleMania. Oh my goodness, so itchy. Right there, nice eyes again, yes. Yes, smart girl. So again, I'm just gonna meander, wait for those eyes to hit me. Yes. And then we'll give her a little break from this in just a moment too. I don't wanna work it so long that she's getting tired. She's like, oh, itchy, itchy. I know she'd rather be a naked lady typically. So right here, I'm just gonna wait for those eyes. Yes. And we'll do 3 more and then we'll call it a day for this pattern for now. She's like, oh my gosh, getting so tired. Right there, yes. She's doing a really nice job. So again, we're just waiting for those eyes to hit. She's like, darn this harness. Though it does fit her quite nice. She just says she'd rather be, again, her usual naked self. So we're waiting for those eyes right there, yes. And then we might go finish, take a break, so that way she can have a little breath. I'm gonna pick up the little targets so we don't get too distracted. These, again, could be another great venue for, let's say, for example, she's having a hard time making her way from, let's say, the backyard to the side yard, or from the front of the home out of the house into the front yard. So what can be nice about some of these patterns is, and I'll just do a little find it, get her up and wiggling, is that you can start them off first in benign settings, build up the foundation to the skill in how to rock it. I'm just gonna plop these over here for a second. And then from there, your dog can then start to implement them as they're going from one softer environment to a harder environment. You're doing a very good job. So what we might do is we'll warm up now with just some simple find its. I'm not doing the up down game or the ping pong game. So find its again could just be a way to get your puppy up and moving, feeling less stuck, help them redirect, help them sort of disengage from something. And also for puppies, as we mentioned earlier, if they're having a hard time being stationary, like we mentioned for Mr. A lot of times movement behaviors make your dogs feel a lot less stuck when they could be behind a fence, a leash, inside a home, where sometimes that frustration or anxiety might raise up a little bit because of the fact that they're feeling stuck and trapped. So this is where movement skills can be really helpful. So maybe we'll do a little bit with some loose leash walking. So typically I like to get my puppy's attention. And this is where too, so notice how she is a low rider, so it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with her. She's a shorter lady, perfectly fine. But you may find bending over to be a little bit more challenging. I did try a little bit with the target stick in the sense of a food item on the edge of the spatula for handsome Mr. E. I'd like to try a little bit with her and the spatula so you can sort of see how on a shorter dog it could be helpful too. This might also help our other little lady, our little Miss P, because I know she is a little bit of a shorter lady too, and then mom is of course a bit taller, so then it can be hard to bend over all the time to reach your lovely boy or girl. So let's say, for example, we have this spatula with a couple little items on it. It could be like cream cheese, canned dog food, could be, again, something that they tend to go for, and you'd want to get their little focus. You can maybe show it to them. She's never seen it yet. See if she wants to check it out, take a little lick or so, see if she likes it. Nice. So then we could use the target stick as a visual for her to hone in on. So she takes a few steps and we'd feed for that lovely response of being by the side. You can see she's still a bit shorter and I'm rather tall. So a lot of times me bending over, I still will have to hunch a little bit. But the nice thing is you could have this visual, get her to hone in on it, and then feed for that little response here. Nice. And then continue on your merry way. 2, you can use it, like I mentioned a little earlier, for like Mr. E, is maybe you're working on honing in on you, and maybe you have her practice moving from one side of your body, nice, to then we have her go to this side. And getting her to just start honing in on this as a visual with a nice big paycheck on the end of it means that she might be more likely to hone on this when, let's say, other things that are more challenging might be occurring. So I know like in the class where she was in like my more sensitive dog class, you may find, okay, she noticed a distraction. She's looking in that direction. We walk down the leash because she's kind of, again, a little taut and trying to hone in on that thing. You could then, while she's focusing on that thing, get her attention and then loop her around back into your space. So you may also find for our little lady, maybe working a little bit with, let's say, for example, coming into your space, like we tried a little bit with Mr. E, we could get her attention. We could go into a little front and then feed for that little movement into our space. Again, a little front. And then, yes, she's like, oh my gosh, that's too far away. And then you could feed her for this. Remember too, that if you're ever having moments where she's not as fluid, this could be brand new for her. So maybe she doesn't get the concept quite as quick. But definitely trying a few different visual items. This, I think, could be a nice venue for her and her lovely shorter girlfriend as well in the program, our little Miss Phoebe. But for right now, target item could be a nice way to not have to hunch over quite as much for your back. And you could always make one that's a bit longer too, so more distance that you could make her move between the target and her. Nice job, cuteness. So with working some of these little reorientations, like I did not see where that went. Ready? Find it. So the benefit of doing some of these find its is you could work, again, that little interaction of moving into your space. We got some good noisy cars driving by, so sorry if you can't pick it up, but the dogs definitely do. So now she goes and does her little find it, and you could, again, just simply feed for orientation to you like we've been doing, or you could work that name recognition, coming when called, little kissy noise interruption. So I'm going to send her away for a little snack, and then again, ready? Jojo, come. Yes, nice job, cuteness. Very pretty. So again, send her away so she can go find her snack, get her a little distracted. Jojo, come. What a nice job, madam. So smart. Ready? So again, we'll send her away with another little snack. And then we could go a little, yes, and do our positive interrupter instead of her name. So remember, there's going to be some slogans that make more sense to one beauty versus another. Try to pick the slogans that are working well for both of you. If she's, again, not quite as fluid with one versus another, make sure to practice them well before we need them, like we've mentioned. So she has, again, a good almost repertoire of practicing that skill prior. But what I would love to try is, let's say I have my puppy now in front of me, and I'd like to get them back to the side of my body as opposed to me like looping around them or wiggling around them. You may find that getting her into a side or finish position to be helpful. So left or right, whichever floats your boat, is you would lure your puppy, bring them to the side of your body, and then feed them for being, again, by the leg. And then you could keep on your, working on your loose leash walking, whatever you might be doing. So again, I'm going to get her attention on my little snack, take a few steps together, and let's say again, ready? She's like, lady, I'm exhausted. But let's say I want to bring her into a front. Ready? I'm going to bring her and lure her into front. Feed her right here. And let's say I'm going to do it on this side so you could see a little bit better. I know I lost her for a second. Oh my goodness, itchy lady. So let's say I wanted to bring her back to the side or finish so I could keep moving once again. That way I can help her hone back in. So let's pretend we didn't lose her to an itchy moment. She was sitting, doing a little front behavior. We would then lure her, bring her to the side of our body. She's like, this still counts. And you'd lure her and then bring her to the side of your body. If you're finding she's having a hard time doing that little turn, even though she's a shorter lady and not super long, we may find for like a longer dog like Mr. E, or at times even Mr. A, that adding a little step back as you're doing the side position could be helpful. Ready? And do a little find it, just get her up and wiggling. So let's pretend I had her in my front and I want to go ahead, I'm going to capture that little moment, feed her for that. But let's say I want to do this side or finish. I could take a step back, then reset her up by the side of my body. So that way I almost helped her line up. This, again, is not about perfection, so don't worry if it's not the most beautiful dance moves you've ever done. The main goal is that our gorgeous gal could have been in front of me, and now I wanted to keep on walking, but now she's there, and I could bring her back to the side of my leg to keep going on my merry way. She's like, lady, I'm ready. So let's say, again, we're going to get her attention. We might take a few steps together. Nice. I'm going to feed for being near me. Good job. To another option, which I know we've sort of worked on this with some of them, is let's say you're meandering through the zone, and anytime she reorients to you, capture those moments. So it doesn't always have to be like the most beautiful, pristine walk next to you. The main goal is that there's no tension and she's not like all over the place in the sense of like safety reasons. But if you're finding that you're meandering and she's off and sniffing and going at her leisurely pace, and every once in a while she does a little check-in and you could feed her for that reorientation to you from the sniffy walk, that would still be beautiful. Because remember, if she is busy sniffing, she can't then also be scanning the horizon to see who the next little boogie monster might be here and there. Nice. Good job, cuteness. She's doing a really nice job. But then you could also work a lovely little moment where she does her little check-in with her eyes, or it could be a watch or look, and then you could feed. So sometimes gaining eye contact on you could be another great venue. Just make sure that if you're looking for focus work on you, if the babe is really struggling, don't keep asking. Because that could be your babe saying, you know what, I passed my comfort range, I'm just not feeling it. So again, we might go a look, and then yes to feed. So you'll see that too, in the beginning, we're using our food to help create the behavior. Later, we would want our food to be, again, the paycheck for after the work has been accomplished. So I realize I've mentioned this in the past a little bit. View it in the beginning as like a bribe. They're getting the thing prior to doing the work. And then later you'd go from a bribe to instead the paycheck. So you have to do the work before achieving that paycheck at the end. Nice job, cuteness. But maybe what we'll do is we'll do another little find it, do a little bit with that name recognition, and then we'll give her a little breather from this and we'll work a few more skills. So ready, Jojo? Yes. Nice job, cuteness. I know it's hard being a little lady rolling around. Ready, find it? She's so stinking cute. I know, Mr. A says, I want to come back out and wrestle. Ready? Jojo. Nice, great little check-in, Jojo. That was very pretty. I know he sometimes wants to always be out and about, but when they take their little nappies, they sometimes have to take little breaks. Ready? Find it? Good job. So we'll give our little Miss J a little breather from some of these skills, and we'll work a few more. But remember, when checking out those pattern games, if any of them get a little confusing or you're a little bit unsure, definitely take a peek, see over the videos, but then you can always check in too if you're really struggling or a little uncertain about some of the steps. But Miss J did a very nice job, so we'll maybe do a little find it. Ready, madam? And we'll give her a little break from this one, but she did so nice. Smart girl.